Hello and welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about dating sites, Satan, and the narcissist's playground. So guys, I know this might sound like a strange topic for me to be covering, but I've been doing a lot of research on this, just studying narcissism in general and trying to understand how the dating app and the dating world plays into this. And well, there are parallels everywhere. So I want to say specifically, one of the biggest things that is driving narcissism, and even the really awful down the road type of narcissists, is absolutely the dating scene and the dating app. Unlike anything that we've ever had. These things didn't exist 15, 20 years ago even. They were in their infancy stages with things like eHarmony and maybe Match. I don't know when all of them came to exist. But even back at the infancy stages, it was a very different world than what exists now, where you have Tinder and Hinge and Upward and Bumble and Plenty of Fish and on and on and on. You have the farmers only websites, you have singles only websites, single parents only websites. There's so many things. So it's a different world, and it has just wrecked the dating world and made people into monsters in a lot of cases. Society at large has been owned and manipulated by Satan in every way, but the dating app, trust me, has had a huge part to play in this. So, yeah, dating sites are the devil's playground and the narcissists. So let me say this as a disclaimer before I get going, because I know what some people are going to say. My boyfriend and I met on a dating site. I've got a best friend, and she's married, and they're happy, and they met on a dating site. It happens, okay? Absolutely. Do people meet on dating sites and have successful relationships, at least for a time? Sure. It happens. So before you're saying, look, these do work. Okay, they do work for some people sometimes. But even then, sorry, I got an itch here. Even then, I'd like to see what the success rate is 5 years later, 10 years later, 15 years later. That's something we don't hear about. So even if someone says, well, it worked, they met their match, they're married, they're happy, what about down the road? Anyway, that disclaimer out there, I want to talk about some things. First of all, dating sites, above everything else, are horrible for men. If you're a man and you're watching this, and you have profiles on dating apps, particularly something like Tinder, get off of it. Get off. Everything is stacked against you. The whole hand, the whole deck is stacked against you. I just saw this earlier on Tinder. It's between 70 and 75% male dominated. So if you're going to get on Tinder, and trust me, it's true of a lot of these other places. If you're going to get on there as a man, you are going to be competing against a whole bunch of other men for one or two or three women's attention. You're going to. And if you do start to talk to her, if she is interested in you, which doesn't happen a lot, unless you're in that higher echelon of basically looks, because they just swipe past you if you're not attractive. So even if you do start to talk to a woman who you like on there, I can guarantee you're one of about 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 other people she's communicating with. So right there out of the gate, that eliminates my desire to do any of it. It should for you too. You really want to start talking to a woman and have interest in her and be spending time talking to her when she's talking to a whole bunch of other guys at the same time. And then, say you do start dating. Is she suddenly off the dating app and not talking to anyone else but just you? Oh, come on. I have more to say about that later if I get back to it. So, basically, it's completely male-dominated for the most part. The women on there are by and large, and ladies, I'm not trying to cut on you. I'm talking about just reality of how it works. It's very heavily slanted towards women. If you're an attractive woman, you can get on there and you're going to have a whole bunch of messages and a lot of men pining for you and competing for your attention. And if you're a guy, you're just one of a number. Doesn't matter. Unless you're in that high top echelon of really top 5, 10%ers. And looks, probably finances, but mainly looks, because that's what it's based almost entirely on most of the time. You're disqualified and you're DOA. So men, get off the dating apps. That's all I can tell you. Just get off of them. Women, though, I would suggest that you get off of them as well. Because even though you're going to have a whole lot more options, your idea, and this is happening rampantly. If you don't believe me, research. Just go do a little bit of research on it. This whole idea of a woman getting on dating sites and having all these men come to her, which happens typically if you're relatively attractive. Even if you're not, you're still going to get a lot more attention than a guy. But a woman gets on there, she gets bombarded by men, and she's got suitors out the yin-yang. Well, that screws with your mind tremendously. There's this thing that it's called, what is it? I have it written down here. The paradox of choice. The paradox of choice. Which basically means, even though you think more choices are better, more is actually less. Or put it the other way, less choices is actually more or better. So what I mean is, the paradox of choice is going to say, well, because I'm on a dating site and all of these guys want me, and there's so many men, and it's just boom, boom, swipe, 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 swipe. And it's endless. It's like an endless feed of, you think that's a good thing. In fact, it's a horrible thing. Because you're never satisfied with anything that happens. You start to judge people completely by appearances. Hot, yes, not, hot, yes, not. And everybody loses their value. And everybody gets compartmentalized into just how do you look on a picture or two that you have. And that encapsulates you. So women are training themselves on these apps to basically be completely appearance-driven. Totally appearance-driven. And it just inevitably happens. Even if you're a good woman, that's going to happen on these things. So that's one problem. Second problem is everybody just becomes a number. You don't focus in on any person. You don't get to know anyone. You see a little bit about them, and you don't care most of the time about this. Do you see how superficial this is getting? So the biggest problem is no one's ever good enough. And this is so true of narcissists. But this is what's turning people into narcissists. That's what I'm trying to say. This is a playground for the narcissist, in a breeding ground. Because at the end of the day, when you have all of these options, your mind says, I have infinite options. Yeah, this guy's great. Who cares? The guy I look at tomorrow, I might get on here and I might find the perfect man tomorrow. Well, yeah, I'm really happy. I'm dating this guy I met on Tinder, and it's going really great, and he's wonderful, but, I just can't see just being exclusive with him. Look at all these options I have. It's endless. And you're talking to lots of people at the same time. And even, guys, I'm getting worked up because I don't think people realize what a mess this is. What a disaster this is. As if dating isn't bad enough, the dating apps have come along and just thrown it into overdrive. The disaster. So no one's ever good enough. So women, my point is, get off of these things too. Focus on finding someone who has good values, who matches your values. Preferably, you're a believer in Christ, and preferably you're looking for a fellow believer in Christ. Do you have to have some attraction? Sure, you have to have some attraction. No one's going to refute that you have to have some attraction to the person. That cannot be the end-all, be-all. That can't be everything. How's the person's heart? Are they consistent? Are they faithful? Have they conducted themselves accordingly throughout their lives? Or are they a disaster? Is their body count super high? Have they lived a life that's not worthy in any way of being called a Christian or a believer? What's their track record? Get to know a person for real and look for the right things, values, integrity, consistency. Consistency is so important. My point is, men need to get off because they're just one in a million. Women need to get off because it's screwing with your mind and doing terrible things to the way you think about men and relationships. Don't think Satan doesn't have his hands all over this. Don't think that he doesn't sit back and watch this debacle take place and go, yes, I got him. I'm just destroying relationships. I love this. Don't think he's not doing it, because he is. That leads to my last point. This is a narcissism channel, and I think it's pretty clear. All of this is absolutely causing narcissism to explode all the more. Narcissists are getting on dating apps to screw up people's lives, to glom onto people, to manipulate, to have that constant supply and energy source that they need all the time, that they always have. And the dating app is the perfect tool. They can sit back while they're with their partner and be contacting on their third arm every single Tom, Dick, and Harry, or Sally, Jan, Beth, in existence. It's effortless. They don't have to put in any effort at all. That itself is a reason to get off the dating apps, because these things are filled with toxic and narcissistic individuals. Can you succeed on a dating app, especially if you're a female? Yeah, it can be done, but even what you mean by succeed is probably not what I mean, because I mean find a loving, healthy person you can spend your life with ultimately. It's not what most people mean. So can you succeed on a dating app? Yeah, but you are far and away more likely to be disappointed, to get screwed over, to find a toxic person, to have your expectations of what you're going to find blown out of proportion, to start to view people as just a picture, to have no ability to relate. You're far more likely to experience very negative results from being on dating apps than you are with meeting a wonderful person you spend your life with. Far and away more likely. I'm telling you guys, these are destructive. So, this is a breeding ground for toxic people, and this is a playground for toxic people. They're bred on these dating apps and social media in general, granted, but I'm focusing on the dating app for this video. They're bred on the dating app. They flock to the dating app, like I said, to destroy, manipulate, get supply, get a whole harem of people. It's effortless. Don't have to leave your house. Don't have to put on makeup. Don't have to put on clothes. Don't have to do anything. Just hop on that thing, especially if you're a woman. Post some pictures. Put some filters on. Put your best self on there and watch the guys flood in. And watch them fight for your attention. And be texting 4 or 5 of them at the same time while you're talking to 2 or 3 new people on there, while 8 more people are messaging you. That's sort of what it's like for an attractive female on these things. And if you're a guy, have fun finding someone you like on there, actually having her respond, getting to discussions and maybe even some dates, and know the whole time that she's probably talking to other men on there. And then have fun realizing, okay, I found this person on a dating app, and here is one of the biggest concerns. Hear this one, for men and women. Okay, I found this person on a dating app. Now we're seeing each other. Now we're exclusive. Do I trust that that person's actually now off the dating app? We met on there. Do I know that they've deleted their profile or closed it down or inactive? Or do I really know that? Sure, they might tell me that. Do I really trust it? Most of the people on dating apps have been on there a long time. Most. They've developed a whole repertoire of people they talk to and communicate with, especially narcissists. Do you really think that they got off of the site? That they met you and you're great and they're just done. It's highly unlikely. And no matter what, even if they are, you're always going to wonder whether or not that's true. Because if things don't work out with you, they're going to be right back on there. And the guys, I realize what I'm talking about here is not every man and woman, every person across the board, but it is very true, generally speaking. So, guys, in this snapshot, I hope you understand something. Satan has used social media, and especially has used the dating app, to flood people's minds with terrible thoughts, to create a hookup culture, to create a scenario where no one's ever good enough and nothing ever measures up, and the possibilities are so infinite that you can't settle for anything or anyone. The next person is just one swipe away. The perfect man or woman could be the next swipe away, or next month the next swipe away. Or if I'm dating and I'm happy, I still gotta wonder what I might be missing out on the dating app. Who's new? Who came into it since I've been off the market? Guys, this is toxic. This is a toxic nightmare. The dating app is Satan's playground, and it's also the narcissist's playground. I hope you understand this. Now you have to do what's right for you. If you think I'm out to lunch on this, and you're having great success on a dating app, by all means, you've got to make your own decisions. I'm just telling you, in many cases and in many ways, the dating app has been hijacked, maybe just instituted in general, but certainly hijacked for the purpose of destroying relationships, the very thing that it was supposed to do. That's the great irony of the dating app. It was supposed, in theory, to funnel matches and help people build relationships. What it has done is just the opposite. It's made it harder to develop real relationships by a landslide. So guys, I hope that this resonates with you. It's just another way of talking about narcissism, and the dating app is the narcissist's playground. Get off of it. It's my opinion. It's my advice. So anyway, guys, I hope this was interesting to you. I'd really like to hear comments on this one. If you've been on it, what your success is, how you view it. Really good thing, really interesting topic. So I'll have another one for you here soon. But until then, God bless.